Okay, I mean, there's always, I'm not an expert on that, but people always, throughout the years, Moore's law, okay, is essentially true, okay, roughly true. But then, at some point, you will get into limit because of physics, right? You can't really keep going on forever. I don't know, you guys are into physics. You can tell me. But some people claim that eventually you're going to run into physical limit. But somehow they are able to keep moving along. Okay? So in terms of the transistor size, it's still getting smaller. Okay? But sometimes they have to do, instead of silicon, maybe they have to use other stuff.
I thought it was more its approaching the limit and that they're doing sort of different, they're doing things other than transistor based.
Okay. So here's how I work. Okay, because I'm a math guy, I actually don't understand physics. Okay, so what happened is that they give me these tools and these rules, and I can understand it, and I'll make use of it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm kind of approaching it the same way in engineering. Okay, so my engineering career, I have advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage is that there's some engineering stuff that I don't actually know. I just pretend to know. Okay. But the advantage is that there are some math stuff that nobody knows but I know. Okay? Because math is still trained your analytical mind, right? So I'm kind of a little bit different in the engineering team. Okay? Because sometimes they feel that, okay, this guy is a little bit crazy, he seems to be able to solve difficult problems, but some of this really easy stuff, he doesn't know. Okay? Alright. So we can go to the next one. Okay, so what happened is that I just kept doing this at RSI Logic, putting a lot of stuff on the single chip, so I started to make an impact in the industry. So people start to kind of know about me. I actually get invitation to speak. So I did speak at places like Santa Clara University, UC San Diego, and Stanford, because I get invitation to do so. And then one day, a professor at Stanford, he called me out. I know of him, but I didn't really know him personally, so he didn't know me personally either. He was in his mid-30s, I was in my late 30s. He called me up and he said that he was starting a company doing something called digital subscriber line, which I'll explain later. So he said he's starting a company. So he has all these Ph.D. students, former Ph.D. students who graduate already. He's going to join him, a bunch of maybe 5 or 6 students and him starting a company. And of course they know that technology really well, but they're missing the error correction part. Okay. So they invite me to join him. So I got really excited. So 2 weeks later, I got it. Okay. So what I did over there is called digital subscriber line. Okay. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about what that is. I can't really tell you too much because I don't really understand it that well, but I learned a lot about it. Okay. So basically what they do is that they send high-speed data through the telephone line. Okay, I know most of you do use cable modems at home, is that right? Does anybody use AT&T, UVerse, and that type of stuff? Using phone line? That's the type of technology we work on. Okay? So basically we are sending high-speed data through the phone line. So at that time, I went to work for Amadi in 1992. At that time, nobody was using it. Okay, it was a new technology, just come out from Stanford. And what they do is that this is public switch telephone network, PSTN. So we occupy the 4 kilohertz band, so the so-called voice band. Voice band is 4 kilohertz. So what we did is that we do it all the way up to here, which is 1.1 megahertz. 1.1 megahertz. Okay. So we were able to send a lot more data, but of course, this guy is pretty crappy here on the channel. Okay. So the attenuation is really like this. Okay. So we put some space in the middle. We don't use that part between 4 and over here 25. Okay, because of the crosstalks. And then this part is used for sending stuff. So-called upstream. Upstream is from the customer like us or you. to the central office in the phone company. And this is the so-called downstream. This is like when you want to get some video, okay, it's from the central office down to the home. So that was the technology that companies specialized in. At that time, we did really well in terms of technology. We actually compete with AT&T and some other Bell communication research, and we have basically playoffs and that type of stuff to see whose system performs better. So we actually did really well. We actually outperformed them. But still, it's a good technology looking for an application. Okay, looking for an application. So it's kind of hard. I mean, sometimes, from the university, you think everything is so cool. You can do all this. But you need to have a market. Okay? But we were kind of lucky. So because in the mid-1990s, around 95 or so, Netscape come up. You guys know Netscape? No? Netscape is a browser, right? Yeah. Netscape is a browser. Okay? So when the Netscape come out, so people get really excited. Okay, this is internet connection, right? So that's become really important. So internet becomes so-called the data highway. Okay? And some people start to say that DSL, which is the technology we work on, is an on-ramp to the data highway. Okay? So suddenly we become kind of important, has more visibility. So I think because of that, Texas Instruments decided to buy us. So we got acquired by Texas Instruments in 1998, I think. Yeah, in 1998. So I ended up working for Texas Instruments. So what I do in Texas Instruments. So at Texas Instruments, I end up being the error correction expert for that particular business unit. And I also end up responsible for all the digital chip design because at RSI Logic, I learned a lot about digital chip design. So I actually manage design teams in San Jose and Dallas. Dallas is the headquarters at Texas Instruments, and also at Bangalore, India, because we have design sites over there. So we implement all these chips. This is the souvenir I got when we ship like 10 million units or something. Okay, so it become a reasonably big business. Okay, and these guys are actually the so-called the wafer for the chip. So you can actually see it's actually the silicon wafer. So I took a picture. My son helped me to take a picture of this. Okay, it looks like this. You can see the different texture here, different reflection. Okay, some of this is memory, so it's dark, it's denser. By the way, we name our chips at that time using dinosaur names. You see T-Rex and Raptor there? T-Rex basically has 4 chips there together, 4 similar functionality put together. So it's bigger, so it's why it's called T-Rex. Okay. So that's what we did. I got some incentive to stay at TI for 10 years, so I stayed there. And then after that, I started my own consulting business and at the same time, tried to prepare to teach. So I was doing my consulting business, consulting for error corrections, and then at the same time teaching part-time at Kenyatta and also Foothill. And that will eventually led to 2013, I get hired full-time here. So, and I was really lucky to be able to teach here. Okay, so it's a very rewarding experience for the DSL to see that eventually it gets really popular. It's not really as popular here in America because we have cable modems. We have cable to compete with DSL. But in Africa and Asia, okay, so they don't have the cable infrastructure. So that's why DSL actually did pretty well. But by the way, this is linear. This is not logarithmic. Okay. You can see there are these other charts are not, just for comparison. You have cable, you have copper is us. Copper is DSL. You have cable, which is the one that you cable modem, coaxial cable, really thick. Those are really thick, right? Ours is really thin, so we need more technology for us. So it's more difficult problem for us. These guys are fibers. Fiber to the home, fiber to the curb, and all this stuff. But of course nowadays, you can see DSL flatten out a little bit, but the fiber, this other stuff, fiber starting to grow. But the main point I want to say is that it's kind of pretty rewarding to see that we're starting out from concept, okay, this technology from Stanford, and then we were able to eventually push it. And now we're talking about what, 350 million worldwide. So that's pretty rewarding. Okay. So what is this key finding? What are the findings? I mean, about this detour into engineering or journey into engineering. Okay. So the first thing is that math is indeed useful. Despite a lot of people think that math is actually quite useless, like what my sibling was talking about, and also there are mathematicians who actually claim that math should be useless. They don't want it to be contaminated with applications. But I don't take that view, okay? My view is that math is really just understanding nature and it should be useful. And in fact, it is really useful. And we can have different examples that a lot of stuff actually in everyday life is related to math. Any of you into basketball? Watch the Warriors? Okay. So goaltending in basketball. How do they determine when this is goaltending? Goaltending is that this thing go up, and if it starts to go down, after it goes up, after it passes the vertex, or the apex, right? They call it the apex. In Math 120, we call it the vertex. So this is our parabola. Okay? This is the vertex of the parabola. After it goes through that, if you touch the ball, that's goaltending. Okay? That's already considered a goal. So, and also, big cones, I mean, some of you may have heard about it, it's actually reaching all-time high recently. It uses a lot of math, a lot of number theory. Okay? And if you're really good at number theory, you can just get rich by just creating big cones. It's like people mining gold, like the 49ers, not the team. I mean, 1849. People come here to mine gold, right? So the big coin is the same thing. You can mine it if you have good computing power or good algorithms. Okay, if you really understand a lot of math, number theory, you can actually make a lot of money just by doing that. So I also find that this journey I have is a really fruitful journey with really rewarding experience. I got to work with a lot of good people and learn from them. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit is there's really not that much difference between math and engineering from my perspective. I know some people like to emphasize that. I know Professor Alteto, my wonderful office mate, he has this job. I don't know where he is here. So, but he has this job about difference between, some of you have heard it 3 times, has this job about difference between engineers and mathematicians. So there's a fire. The engineer was lying in bed, there was a fire. The engineer got up and then walked to the fire and take a look. Okay, get some fire extinguisher and extinguish the fire. Went back to sleep. A mathematician, this is according to Professor Alteto. Mathematician is going to get out and go and look at the fire, set up some equation, understand it, convince himself that, okay, I now have a model, I understand it. And then went back to sleep. And then get burned. Okay. So, it's kind of a joking aside, I think that's not really, from my perspective, they're kind of the same thing. They're just understanding law of nature. Okay, so what conclusion do I have? The first thing is education is really a proven path to a better life. There are other ways. Like being Steph Curry, I mean, if you're that good, I mean, okay, or doing baseball, okay. But one way that, okay, is within our reach, okay, is education. So my parents, they did not have education, but they know that education, they knew that education is important. So they actually provide an environment for all their kids, okay. so that they can actually have good education. Okay? So I think that's really important. That's what I want to say. The second one is follow your passion. Follow your passion. And leverage your strength. Whatever you are good at, doesn't matter what people tell you. Okay? If they tell you it's useless, doesn't matter if they tell you this and that. Just follow your passion. If you do something well enough, you will be able to make a living out of it. So just go after it. The third thing is to take some calculated risk, and it's okay to fail. I mean, I fail once in a while too, right? Everybody fail. So if you take the calculated risk, I think that because if you don't take risk, one saying is that my business advisor used to tell me because I wasn't taking enough risk. He said that if you never do anything, you'll never make any mistake. So you need to do something, okay? So talking about taking risks, I actually want to thank my wife Esther, who's in the audience, because when I was taking risks working for startups, she was the one who worked for the big companies with a stable job, okay, to provide for the family, okay, to make sure that because the small companies, they can die any time, right? So I do want to thank her. So this is the last slide. I really want to say thank you to you guys, okay? I really enjoy teaching here, okay? I like the learning center so much, so I spend a lot of time there, as you may know. So I really like interacting with you guys, and I can learn from you guys. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to serve you. That's the end of my talk. Thank you.